Hello, hello, hello. So it's been a while since I've done a creator now. And it's been 8 years crack. Been crossing the 2000 creations border. So a little celebration video. I'm gonna make a little making of doku of the Monaco GP track. Legendary, world famous track. I just finished the what do you call it? I don't know, update, and had to move mountains to get it done. And by moving mountains, I mean deleting half of the track or the visuals to get it done. I need to search in public. Here it is. So I had to publish it first. Get rid of all of everything, and now I can just open it without any risk, because I had to go from an open wheel to a stunt race to get a small start grid in, to get it, to make it fit in between the narrow walls. That's actually the main thing. You also have to get your pit stop checkpoint in. You have to get your pit stop area in. But it was mainly the start grid. So I had to make a small start grid and close it or save it, close it off, reopen it, and then get the medium, I think. I didn't. No. You switch to medium if you go to an open glass edition. So I just switched it to open wheel here. And then I got the car's automatically on the small grid. And then I carefully I just fixed everything. The last thing you have to fix is the checkpoint, the start grid. So all I had to do was switch it to open wheel. I put the open wheels on, then I placed the pit stop checkpoint and the pit stop area with the slowdown. And then I just published it. So now I have to retrace that to make the open version of the same version. As you can see on the picture, and like I say, it's an update from an existing track which I made a long time ago, a few years, and it was never the intention to get exactly the track. Of course, it's always your wish to get it perfectly, a perfect copy of the real track. But in this case, when I made the first one, it was more the intention to place it at the harbor like you see in the picture. So I really want to get that marina feeling, especially on the streets of the Los Santos map itself. So it was already back then was very, very challenging to get it down that low, so you actually have the water slightly, it's not on the same level, but It's not like your track is like 60 feet higher than water level. So to get as low as possible was really challenging. And now I even had to drop it lower to get more of the last sector correct, which has a slight uphill and then a weird over crest, right-hander, sharp right-hander, downhill. So like you see in the picture now, still got it in the marina. The, the, the pool, La Piscine, the view on that. So what I did was I made the pool area, and then I just needed every prop I could get, so I had to erase the water of the pool. So the water is not there anymore in the actual published version, but that's why I took the pic before I published it. Then I can erase the prop and gain a prop that you actually need for your picture. So it's a little detail. I'm gonna open it up. So later on I'll be opening up the old track in online, and then the new track online, and you'll see what the difference is in the driving. Like I say, main focus has always been to get it on the streets of Los Santos itself, with the Marina Bay here. And it's only a little bit, like here you get a little bit of straight, but you really get that uphill that you have from the Monaco start. You really have that, it's almost out of view that first corner at that first bump, which is perfect to place it. Maybe they designed it that way a little bit on purpose. They probably saw it coming that people were going to make Monaco editions. Anyhow, and then you have, of course, the tunnel here, which goes back onto the street, the actual street from the Los Santos map. I had to heighten this a little bit. Downhill is maybe not as steep as the actual track, but to get it down and to get it all placed here. Like I say, I had to move mountains because you can get lower, bits lower and this and that, and then you connect it, and then you come out, and you need to lower other bits. Like this bunch of trees has always been a problem. So you have a little bit more of a straight here, and you have the corner here with the wider track pieces. It's pretty similar here. Also, you have more of a straight coming out of the tunnel, but the simulation is pretty good, because if you cut here and then you cut here, it's only a little left right kink extra. But yeah, so the intention of this one is to make an open wheel track of the old edition, and it would have been a lot easier to make it from scratch and raise it like 20 feet, but then the whole street thing would have been gone. So I really wanted to keep it in that same concept, same feeling. Just a little unlucky that the prop sticks out here, because it's really, this is like emergency solution work that I had to do here just to connect this. And to be honest, and maybe that's why I do this little doku, I'm just amazed that I got it done, because the last sector really simulates the track well. So with the startgrid, I pretty much kept the same. Now the problem is, for open wheel, you gotta have the open wheel startgrid with the pit area. So unfortunately I wasn't able to put a pit building down. So there's a few trees there and a pole, but people can just stop in the middle when that's what they do anyway. So like I say, that's not priority in this occasion. So it was a little bit tricky. I had to really try a lot of positions for the pit lane, and over and over you get bored with it, and you have to try again. And like I think maybe since like the open wheel update, I've been trying to get this into the open wheel concept, but it really was a struggle. So if you see on the colors here, I have two pit lane props actually. So you see there's two pit lane props making an angle, because you have on the real Monaco track it goes uphill and it has a little bend even, but yeah, you can't do a bend because you don't have the startgrid props to do that. And it wouldn't allow for an open wheel, but I have a little angle here to get a little of that feeling. And then I even placed 3 or 4 in the beginning to get that uphill here, but I had to just erase because I just didn't have enough props. What I did with the second one is there I elongated the first one, so the 3 got covered here. Now it's really still striking through the walls, but really you're not gonna hit it as long as you're on the track. So I really had to punch it, because if I pulled this out a little bit more, then the other barrier moves up a little bit more. Like I said, it was all a little bit of matching. I still want to get this beat down, but it's to get the slightest amount of angle on the transitions. So yeah, I was once I had that, I might have moved to other locations here and there, but like you see, there's a lot of poles and shit sticking out. I don't think I'm on the maximum of 24. I didn't have to remove that much, but like over here, it's a lot. See all the balls going. So once it's cleaned up, it's not too bad. Like I say, you really get the feeling that you're still in the city itself, like driving on the streets, which is really important. Like the real track, you have that first corner, Saint-Devote. You have that little bumpy entrance, and you have that open spot here that it's pretty nice to simulate that here. So we're not cutting the corner here, so it's a little bit more difficult, and you have a little bit more time to, when you come over the bump, to brake, to get it right. It's a little sharper, like if you would have cut it here or here. So that's how I narrow it down. So you have the barriers here, but when you come on the track, you see that the curb actually makes a line here. So your track is actually here, so it's only this narrow. Even though that the barrier is here, the driver will never see this area as a driving area. So then, once you get the curb there, even the brain switches to the white line automatically here. So it's a little bit of a, it's a little bit more difficult, and it's, you have a little bit more time to, when you come over the bump, to brake, to get it right. It's a little bit of a more difficult, and it's, you have a little bit more time to, when you come over the bump, to brake, to get it right. It's a little bit of a, psychological cheat there. But yeah, I had to place the barrier right next to the curb here. I think that one goes too, yeah, blue. So it's actually this barrier that's connected to that one. So I just used another track police prop. And that's what, if you make a narrow track, that's what the prop usage becomes very expensive. So you use a lot of props to make it more narrow, unless you have a customer on the ground or something. But if you want to bound off some existing spots, like I say, a cheat here with the barrier. You have the outside here coming out the corner. Then you go back here and you switch to the inside, and then the barrier goes to the narrow line here, a little bit of curb showing. So that's again with another extra prop. So you have the normal track there, and then just overlay the green one with only the barrier showing. And it would be nice if you had like longer barriers with pads and different angles. But yeah, new gen, I can afford it. So here, a quick solution to fill it up. Like dynamic props are just emergency solution props if you come short of normal props. If you're building big. I intentionally wanted to keep this this gantry. I had to look up the name because it's really like always visible on the Grand Prix. So I want to get that feeling. I had to erase a barrier here to protect the lamps. But come exit corner here, you keep this line. So if people crash, they might hit the pole, but yeah, normally it's not close to the racing line. So like I say, it's all emergency. Every prop almost has like, it's just the highest priority. Like I say, it's easy just to make it and then just put the barrier props from the first time, but then you have with the barrier props, you have the extra area where the green is between the curb and the barrier itself. That's gives you a boost, but also it makes your track a lot wider. Even though that we as a crew always try to stay within the lines. For other people, it's always better, and you get also that more narrow feeling when the curb is like right next to the line, and your brain automatically wants to look for the shortest route, and you always want to cross the white line and get that extra curve here, and then that makes it dangerous, so then crashes happen. I've hit it a few times without having to crash or stop instantly. So close barriers on the curb here too. And then of course you have to deal with the little bit more ugly side on the outside. It's a little bit more bumpy because you're focused on the level and the angle that these are placed in. Because if a lot of people bend it to get something covered, to get the curb gone here maybe. But if you bend it too much, then the slightest step you hit, you're gonna crash because of the angle of the barrier. So the more you keep it straight towards the track itself, or how the car will be placed when it hits it, the less crashes you will get. No, they probably always happen. So the little tree thing is a little bonus. Like I said, it was hell working around it, but I wanted to get it in the track so you really get that Monaco feeling, that holiday feeling. see the bleachers here from the La Piscine area sector there. Changed this building a few times. Was flat, was wide, small, shorter. Now put a big one up. It covers a bit of the green and barrier things, and you have the feeling of the buildings from the real track. Now, I would have wanted to get rid of all the curbs, which is easy, but then you need just 50 to 50,000 perhaps more. So now I cover a big area with this prop. It's a 30 startgrid, 30 player startgrid prop. It's very long, and so it covers a lot of area, which is very economical. This prop too was angled differently. I think it was more angled this way before, but then I had more props to cover this area. So I had to use it on two sides to cover here. Even here it sticks out, which I don't like. I wanted to cover this up. Yeah, just had to erase everything, no props. Maybe even it's better if I place this one right here. That would be better, but I just put it here. Because if you come here, it's all like gray. So now you have that little view. And if you place it here, people are going to crash it. So, but if you look at the real track, you get an open area here too. So it's a little runoff, safety runoff. That's why I want to keep it open now. Overall, I rather wanted the track to be black. So like this, which would have been, I think, more characteristic. It's all good and well, but you say you choose what you want, but if you do this, then all the barriers are gonna be like that. And it might look cool, but it's just not, that's not how the real track looks, so it's got more of the boring, cheap, grey ones. So like you see here. So, like you see, there's a lot of thought already going into that whole little area. Again, trying to stay as close to the curbs and the line with barriers here with double props. I think I even had triple props and covered this white line too when I was doing the remake. But just had to erase one side, and that was even like way before I was even close to finishing it, because after I erased these, I might have erased another 15 props at least. So a lot of details is going, like I said, the pool, a lot of trees are gone. I did get a little exuberant with the trees where you have the forest area already coming up right away. So like these uphill things, but you have to work with singular barrier things to get your angle here, to get the curve from this uphill prop, which makes it all expensive. You should have had the uphill props with barriers too. That would have been nice. Broken up in pieces maybe. I had a double corner here too, where the barrier was closer to the curb. I just had to erase it and go for the singular, because I already have an overlap here. It goes into this prop, which is it's an overlay between the other two. So I just had to switch to single barrier, which is very economical. I rather would not have done it, but again, prop shortage. I really wanted to get these buildings in. So you really have kind of like the same shapes. Same shapes as in the real track. You got the casino here in the pale yellow color. And you have the little the market, the open area. Have the stands here, which I really wanted to keep this time. I don't think they're in the first track. I once started with it, but I just erased it because of focus going to other things. You're simulating higher builds. Here again, it looks like a little bit of struggle, but you have like a little bit of a kink, double kink in this corner leading up to the downhill. And here was the forest area, so I had a few trees covering the whole bit here. And just now all you see is one. If you come here, come racing, all you see is one. And then the rest is all on your outside, so the green is it's kind of a cover. Sticking out a bit there, maybe I have to close it a little bit more under the barrier here. I think I replaced that because I was trying to steal this prop too, but I just had to keep it for the greenery. I had a prop here covering this. There were some more trees here. I had to erase all of that, but we really get that square behind the casino. Here I had to be really creative to keep it as narrow as possible. Like here is the barrier prop. It's just a 90-degree corner. I couldn't go for the double. I had to erase it. I had to steal one prop. Like I say, every mountain I had to move. The little advantages, and it's dangerous here. If you watch the curbs, you're not gonna hit it unless you crash or get tapped. So it also covers the tree area. But then it makes it narrow here, right in this location, which is pretty good. Because that's where you're about to cut in, and if you come here, you're about to get it narrow here. I have that slight kink to the right, which I try to significate more on the update. More narrow with the barrier on the curb. So I have more kink on it now. Barriers here close to the curb again to get the outside for the next hairpin left. The famous Grand Hotel hairpin. Again, erase some walls here and replace dynamic props to get the steel props. Foundation is still the same as the old track, like get the 3 blocks to form the tunnel, and the base for the locations here. And you have a little open area view here when you come enter the airplane, so you have a little open view. I think it's ocean and shit, so here you have a little bridge and all that between. Why is there a prop sticking out there? I did not use that prop. Use that gainer prop. Oh, I have to do it all again. That's not good. Okay, where are we? Hotel airplane. So this is of course the most recognizable picture from any F1 track in the world. This is also where I put the most attention in when I first made the real edition, the first edition, because it's just so typical for Monaco. And yeah, that it's not like just a hairpin. It's just like a little. It's actually like a real hairpin, because the real hairpins have like a little king that goes outside, and then they have the 180, and then it cuts inside and it goes outside a bit more. And that's what I already had pretty well back then, with the same angle of inclination or declination if you come from that side, of course. So it's got nice buildings filled up. It was same as the original track. Barriers close to the track, no barriers. I had to erase a few. Here close to the curbs again. I think I had some extras here to form this road. I had to cut a lot off. I used to have the whole road here finished almost, but never got published. I always had to erase. A little bit error in the transition here. So I had to really try to be constructive with the props here, because I played with a lot of degrees to get this right. Right, there's no right actually, it's really just a cover up. Like, it's a badly placed band-aid even. If you come here you don't have any view of the actual track from the track piece, which is the most important thing, like that little curb thing. You don't see that if you're driving. So that was important when I placed that, and you see it pretty similar to the curb from the track here. And I think in the first edition it matched better, but now I had to get more kink in the upper sector here, so that took out the more natural, normal, how you say, radius of this prop here. So now it sticks out here more. Even had cover-ups here for that. I had to erase that. Just had like the whole wall had placed. I had to just erase it and replace it with one little wall here, just to get a wall in. Otherwise, it's just too open. Just had to keep that. Give it a little bit of distance for when people just make an error and cross the curb. To get that famous tree. It's also there on the real track for years, like this one. Got the double building here with the blue center. That was also on the original track. It's a pretty good simulation of the building that's actually there. So you get buildings that simulate as a wall too. Got the background building here covering up the open flying bridge prop, which is the actual road on Monaco. The Mirabeaus. Then we go to the Portier, corner 8. And barriers as tight as possible to the track here. And I had to take advantage of, like I see, it could have been so detailed, but I had to do it with one prop here, just to get the barrier close to the curb. So this is a little bit neglected. Yeah, it serves a good purpose here. very close to the apex, which makes drivers really have to look out not to overcut it, which is good. I don't like overcutting people. There are people that overcut intentionally. So with the original track, it was really a lot more different here because I switched to a wider walled track piece here, and I think 2 or 3 of those covered the whole area. So we're cornered, 90-degree cornered bits, I think. You had a lot of more wider track, which was too wide for the actual real version in Monaco, like the actual track. So I went for a remake with smaller beds. So still wide, but like the barrier should have been here. But still, you get a better feeling. The exit is a little bit tighter here now. Here you gotta be more careful with this. It's a slightly sharper corner. The portiere. It was very easy. It was full speed because you come out here with slightly moderate slow speed, and then you had the follow up, which was pretty much a full speed exit. Now you have to be careful again to not just fly it into the wall. And then here, of course, again the double props. I could have done the originals here with the barrier too. So you end up like, or not attaching to the right one. So you would end up like that. Then I would have at least the gray barrier here. And now you have that little greenery, again, which is a effect of choosing for the gray barriers. You can also go wide, but I don't want wide. I think that pole is gone. Yep. So if you see, remove all the garbage, it's pretty open. That's one still part. You get exit outside here. So it's just watching out for the barriers there. Nobody has time to switch to the right. And here it becomes dangerous. So no props to cover that up. A little signalization here from that thing for the prop. I think that's a nice solution, this cover here. It looks like it's a block, but it's not. It's just 2 props. So this one is 1 prop that covers for as good as the whole tunnel, like you see on the map on the left. See, there's only 1 prop here. This little bend. And you can scratch it a little bit. If you hit it too frontal, then you probably crash. But same prop used here, but the inside out one. Get that extra wall. And you really got that microphone feeling, I think. You have to take advantage of that little hole from the actual map. Here the light poles simulate as structure barrier for old barrier for the actual roof. I think they changed this part. It's still trying to is the case, and I'm not going to say always change it there too. We definitely see He's still the owner, does it say proper? Covering up, just showing the barrier here. Another usage of the map here with the low barrier poles there. There's that extra tunnel feeling. And then you exit the tunnel. Barriers really close on the track here. You see a lot of the track cut off here. Inside barriers are the green ones sticking out here. There's those. I had to really fight to get it right because I think I replaced the inside wall for the tunnel to get it more narrow and get more angle on the exit here because the old one, we all used to just drive over the little pink thing here. So now it's a little bit more high, goes down less quickly. So close here to exit. And this one goes. Here there were some props to close this off, but yeah, again, have to erase it. Close barrier on the apex here. Important to get your more narrow feeling. And also simulates the follow-up from the street here because you switch your stunt props here. But it's almost following the same line as the original road here, which is a nice detail, I think. Again, it should have been a straight line coming into the chicane, cut the chicane here, go to there, and then cut there. But it's, like I say, I had to, if I made a straight line here, would I just come out with the chicane over here, and it just totally distorted it, so you just cheat a little bit in the angles. Just make that right-hander from the tunnel a little longer. And here again, the building's covering a double area. Oh, not this one. This one simulates a building that's in the same shape though, with the rounded there. Got the little tunnel wall connecting the bits. More filled space area. So where is it working with a lot of big blocks here? You have to cut it. Of course, it would have been nicer if you could have followed the track a bit with the angle of the track. But yeah, that was all secondary or tertiary or even later priorities. Again, barriers closed, double props here. Which really makes the difference between this one and the old version, and especially with the open wheels for GTA. Everybody just complains that it's just too easy. Of course, always depends on the track itself, but cars are, of course, very easy to take corners especially once you get the hang of a track. So the first time it says, oh, this car steers good, but of course, after you've done 20 laps, you know the track inside out, so everything's just left, right, and then it becomes automatism, and then the wider your track is, the quicker that becomes easy. And also with the barriers next to the curb right away, it's always dangerous because that's why real drivers also crash still every day it happens. Just because you just want it, also your brain wants to get that sharpest cut on the apex. That's why I also try to leave a few inches open always here. Because if you put it on the curb and they're on the curb, then the little extra, what is it again, like a buffer zone around your car. If you get like any sharp carbon fins or shit sticking out like that, it'll just get you stuck. So those extra inches just give it extra safety override, because your curb is already a safety override, not to cross the white line. So that's why curbs were invented, because everybody just kept cutting the white line, and then they said we'll just make it an extra bit of a track. That's how the whole curb system got developed. And then there were tracks that got too wide because the curbs made the track wider, so they made curbs on the inside, which means they had to redraw the white lines, so all the tracks changed to much tighter corners and shit. That's pretty interesting. So I think here the exit is pretty close to the real track. You have that curb, and you come out with the really sharp. I didn't went for the 90-degree prop here, which many people would have probably preferred, but it's not like that on the real track, so it really has the sharp corners, and even in this one here. So I just stick with it. I also used these in the original one, so I just stuck with it. I redid the whole thing though, because I had to replace it to get the good height. So now you get a really feeling when you come down here that you're actually down, that you're actually down here at the harbor. So this is more at the same level than it used to be. So I think you went more downhill still here. So it's more gradual now. And the barrier is really close to the apex here, so it's really a danger point here to overcut it. Again, focus a lot here, so it's not really that bad that this is open. It's not a priority. You get the barrier here, which is a little bit of an extra because I had to place it here. It's overlapping the other one here a little bit. I had to make sure it wasn't sticking out here. So again, open run out zone. To keep that. Working with the pole here to signify the absolute a few inches here extra. Because your curb already becomes wider here with the diagonal cut. Because if you see curb's only as wide as a circle here in the middle. Not even. Now it's as wide as the big circle here. So as your diagonal cut makes it cut much wider. If you include the white line, it's like almost like 1.5 car widths. So you gotta really close it off, so I think the checkpoint might even be a little bit more too far towards the exit here. So normally I would put it here. So your round outer area strikes here, and your center point is here. Like I said, with the diagonal here being much wider, people are gonna cut it over the wide here, which means that the allowed cut is a lot deeper off the curb than normally when following the white line. So the white line is a lot further removed from the actual outside wheel that's gonna hit the apex on the inside here. So when they turn in too late, they still get the checkpoint. Then they're gonna get too wide here, so they need to correct. So you have no time gain there. So just a little safety. If you put it backwards more, then people with the right correct line would still get it. But people that make a mistake, they cut too wide here, they will miss it. And then they would have to drive back and shit. So now there's a little bit of an extra safety buffer if you actually overcut it. And I'm not sure if if it can give an advantage yet to just make a line out of it and just overcut it and still keep the car going at high speed. So if that's the case, it's too easy to overcut it here. I will just pull this back in the midline. Just pull this back on this line a little bit. Because if I do it here, on this line, then it becomes even more easy to cut it. So you have to actually follow the diagonal that's formed here with the cut of the 90-degree corner. And draw that line deeper, and that's where your check wants to be, where you absolutely have the middle point. Again, that's geometry. So place this here to cover up the dirty, ugly looking crossroad bit port prop here. Same for these two. Also, it covers it. It serves as a little bit of advertisement, and it serves as a wall. Also here, this is more of a warning wall and a wall, which is going to be very, very tricky and delicate. Because if people hit it, they fly off. They're off the track. There's destructible props. Like I said, I had to move mountains just to cover everything up. Still amazed that I managed to do it. Like I say, still the priority here being an actual street track from the GTA map, where you drive on the street of GTA map, like at least a certain percentage, and then get the more narrowness for the Formula One open wheels and with the closed barriers. It's like Macau, which is absolutely awesome, and I'm working on a version for almost 6 years at least. Take 4 years, 5 years, and it's just tried all sorts of techniques to get shortcuts, but I don't want it to be like just a sky track with open barriers and all of that, just with no details. It still hasn't worked out because it's really that narrow, so I really don't want curves to be seen and shit like that. So anyway, I managed to close it off, even if it's not the most pretty version. Again, if you're racing, your focus goes to the tarmac and the limits of it, so everything else becomes detail. Here I can afford this openness. Actually, you can't afford it, but it's doable because this barrier is placed on the line of the curb here. So it's a double prop. And by that is what I mean is you can't cut. You're not gonna drive here and cut suddenly like this. You're just not gonna do that. And by keeping the line, it's gonna be just very hard to get out of the project because you already launched to the outside here, and then you have to cut back in. So that means that on the inside of exits, you can allow for having no barriers, because gonna be a problem, of course. If you slip, hit the wall, crash someone else, you can. If you crash someone else, you can also fly in the air and fly over any barrier. So. And maybe quickly, I don't know, I already talked about checkpoints a bit. So checkpoints, I always try to pull them outside as much as possible. If I put it here, it's too much, because if you cut here over the curb, the red car here, the blanked out car will miss the checkpoint for sure. So what most creators do, they just put it in the middle, but I like to pull it outwards, so it doesn't allow for cutting. The cutting is not allowed by the barrier here. So, but what it also does is it gives you that extra space here where you actually see the track, and you don't see any ball or wall from the checkpoint, and it lights up the whole thing. So people are gonna look for the gap instead of the wall from the checkpoint. So many people maybe drive through the checkpoint and look for the wall on the inside often here. With us, it's just the opposite. And then we go over here, like again, very, very economical here. I may have changed the run up to the Piscine area here 20 times at least. Height, angle, barriers closer, I've tried everything, I had to erase it, made it a lot simpler, gained a lot of props, pulled this corner outward more to get a little bit sharper. Like I say, move mountains, I had to move mountains to get this done. Again, a big prop to cover as lot of area as possible with the 30 player grid. And I totally renewed the piscine area. Of course, I was going for the pool here, and like I said, I erased the water to gain props. Had to drain the piscine. So now you have the little bend here that's actually on the real track after the Tabak corner, which is this left kink here. Then you have that bend and then the fast entrance to the La Piscine chicane bus stop. And this is the fast one. Use the chicane prop itself here, which leans perfectly for it. Doesn't have a barrier version, which is too bad, so I had to be creative again. Also on the exit, already cutting into the second bit here, so you're rarely gonna exit the track here unless you have to bounce off from here in a major crash or something. Here again, trying to cut a little bit off for the cutters, so you can't cut over the curb. Trying to keep as narrow as possible, so I couldn't get narrow here because there's no props enough to make a double prop. And I get that little thing sticking out, it's extra dangerous, but because you don't expect it if you follow the line of the barriers here, you think, oh, there's gonna be a bit sticking out there. But people don't have anything to look behind the curb, so it's actually a little bit of a cheat blocker. And just with normal props, normal barrier props, very cheap, very economical, going into Piscine. See, if you check everything, I mean, where do all the props go? Where is the 200? You know, it's just all one prop. But yeah, it's not like that. So I put this one in, saved a lot of area with that. And I had that pool here sitting, which was a nice bonus also because a bit away from the curbs here, showing the white line still as a limit. Then you come here, which is also one single barrier track. I would have liked to have the barrier closer here on the curb. Again, I had just a track barrier here on the outside, blocking the curbs. I had to erase it so the bleacher stands are here now. Servicing triple purpose as a wall and the stands and a little deco on this side. Then again, very cheap, one prop. The walls would have, I think I've had the first, if at first I had the wall here, double wall, I had to erase the prop just to get the last sector done. So very cheap. Also this one here, it's just can't hit it anymore. Just covering a little hole here. Again here the Piscine, I think I had more props than the old version here. Because I didn't work with narrow tracks, I just placed barrier tracks. So I gained a lot of props overall. So now for this Piscine area, 1, 2, which is just a straight little track. And then 3 as deco props. This is very, very, very economic. I could make like 100 props just making this area as beautiful as it actually is. I would have liked to make a few boats even if possible. So you get that second part of the Piscine chicane area. I have that rounded off, sharper exit bit than the entrance here, which is a normal chicane prop, so you're working with a 90-degree here. And on the real track also you have that sharp corner for the exit. Actually it was open, so more like this, without the barrier here on the inside. Now I replaced this to get the barrier on the outside, even if it's it's not functional enough because it's not covering for the tree here. So it should have been here, but then you need double props, and then you need to erase it here. So I probably would have worked with a different kind of wall on the outside. I'd like to have a plate here that covered this open area, but again, economics. My stands are already serving as a wall here, which is very, very economical. Again here, trying to get the checkpoints. I think if they cut it here, they still got it, so I might have to pull that back a bit on the midline. Here, this bit here to cover the dirty look, the obsolete bit of the crossroads track prop. I think it's nice that I still have like a floor here from this building being visible, so I really got it low here. Of course the marina here. Really happy that I got it that low. I really wanted to go lower, but it just wasn't possible. So here, one prop covering a lot of area again. See, if I remove it, you may think, oh, you need to 20 props to cover that shit up. Just one visually. You got here opening, don't want it. I gotta take it. Because I went for the more narrow prop here. Still allowing for a little bit of curb exit. but I moved the checkpoint more to the right, so if you might miss it if you overcut it. But again, so what you do with the checkpoint? If you have a corner like that, you can. How should I explain this? You can cheat a bit on the cutting bits. So like you see, this barrier doesn't have the correct radius to follow the curve here. So what I do is made the cutting point here, but it's not the actual apex of the coming corner. So you exit here, come outside, and this is not your aiming point because it's the apex, which is a checkpoint which marks the apex. So your apex would be here, and then you would cross the curb here, and try to get wide to get here for a cut on the apex. So what you do is you have your first cut blocker here, which is this barrier. And then instead of opening the cut here, place the checkpoint there, which is the normal apex, which means you can't cut it here. And then you can have another exit where your barrier comes out on the curb again, if your track would have gone to the left again, for example. So then you can have 3 cut blockers instead of just one on the apex, if you know what I mean. So your checkpoint blocks the apex cut, and then this side and that side of the barrier cut the other cut sections. Which is very a lot of explanation for just very obsolete thing from many people would say. But if you want to keep it narrow and don't allow for cuts, then you need to be very creative. Again, here I don't like to see that. I would have like to cover it up. This is just one prop here. And you'll see on the old track it was very different. I came away with a lot more because it was a lot more simplified. So what I did here on the new version is the last sector here is I'd say a lot more realistic than the first one. The uphill is better timed than the downhill section and the little kink here. So you have an exit, then you go uphill. And you have all the advertisement, very busy section here. I'd like to have a building here in the back, but just new gen 500 props created. I wish. So I still have part of the building showing, which is good. A bit of a bonus. I'd like to have this course covered by a wall here would have been nice. It just had to be so economic. Even the roof of the building here serves like a barrier here. So very, I had to replace props here like hundreds of times, and over and over and over. So, like I say, that's why I wanted to make like a vocal documentary description of what I had to went through to get the whole thing down. Because if you see it's all like this is disgustingly made. But if you try to get it down with the same narrative, then it becomes really challenging. Again, here I had to struggle a lot to get the track in between these 2 wooden electrical poles. I have no idea how I did it, because to get this uphill, which is also covering for like a lot of infrastructure here, to get all of that right, to get the right angle, because first it was uphill, then it was too high here, then I had to have too much of a drop to go to the finish, and then it was too flat, then it was too quick first it went uphill too quick, and then, like I say, it just replaced props over hundreds of times, just Keep trying till you find a solution, and then just one day it will just pop out. So you really get that marina view, which I really like. And that last sector, if you look at it from above, it really simulates the track pretty well. So you get that bend coming out of the La Piscine, and then the little thing sticking out with a little bit of straightness here in that kink before that 90 degree. It has a little kink in it too, and then you go uphill, and then you have that over crest right hander going downhill again, and then exit that what is it, 17 Le Carcasse, 18 no. So very sharp here, very dangerous with this 90 degree wall on it. Don't like it. Didn't want the curb to show here, so I had to put it next to the line. There's a little bit of curb here, but you cannot cut it like the other curves, the other 90 degree prop curves that we've seen before. Because then you will just smack the wall, so you really have to be careful here. And then even with the exit here, I have to cover this wooden pole with just one stupid dynamic prop. I would have liked to have the concrete match up with the white line, cover everything up here. Try to simulate this area with the signs from the building here, which I think is pretty well succeeded. This wooden pole is a very big challenge too, because I had to work off this prop to get it as deep as possible here, to gain as much as room here, to get that 90 degree covering the good radius of this prop here. So I could have done, like, for example, it's easier if you go here and you hook it up to the next, like the bottom below here, and like this gray barrier. Just hook it up here. Then again, you have the same feeling with the barrier traps, and it's just too open. So just keep it narrow, which is also good to cover the wooden pole. Just keep it narrow here, no space, just no curb, just white line like the real track. And then, like you see, they have the top of the hill is here. Then it goes down, so actually the hill comes a little bit too soon. You should have uphill till here, and then after this cut it will get down, because this road actually goes uphill here and it continues here in the real Monaco. So this is actually a side road from the other road, so you come here and then you get over a little crest kink and then you go down again. But you can simulate that, but then you have to, you need a lot more props. So what I got here, 1 for the downhill, 2 for the crossroad, for the chicane apex, to have a 90 degree apex here, 1 uphill downhill here, and then the transitions here. It's just the minimal amount of props. Here I have an extra prop to cover this close to the curb barrier. This was, like I said, the final section was the most difficult bit, because I had bits figured out, and then I had to redo this, and I had to redo that because this wasn't matching with this, and then it's just like I say, I've been working for more than a few years on the remake of this track, and still that I'm just like, you have 1 here, one here. So it's 5 props here. I finished this sector, and then I got so close to the actual track. I'm still amazed because that's why I quit so many times when I was trying, because I just couldn't get it done. I just couldn't see the solution, which props to use, where to upload, where to go uphill, where to go downhill, where to place it, so you don't lose much props and shit like that. So if you like, of course, if you build in the air from scratch and just lay it out, blah blah blah, it's no problem. But getting all of the infrastructure in, with the parts of the real map, like the trees sticking out, which is all nice bonus here. That's what also makes it worthwhile. Because if you're driving it, you really have the feeling that it's a totally filled in circuit. So you have five props covering this sector, and then you have 1 and 2 covering the whole visual thing. And this one is also like it's pretty close. I had a straight wall. I had barrier walls. I had loads of things on the outside here. I even had a different prop to make this corner, I think. But then I went with the sharp one, which is ugly with the thing sticking out here. So I probably would have used a destructible prop to cover it up, which I also don't have in spare. But this building was a nice fill up because it has a straight line here at the end, so you have a little straight bit here, which is handy if you want to cover that curb. And on the real, if you look at the like a lap time from Formula One driver or anything at Monaco, you see that the real building standing there has that curve in it too. Because it follows the curve from the street, it goes uphill like here. So I thought that was a nice addition to the whole creation, and I'd like to have it fill up more of this space, but now you have the open canals, which is also a nice view. But it serves as a wall here now, serves as a building and as a blocker here for the visuals here. And it nicely links up to the barrier here. And then of course very ugly here, the trees on the track, but again, I had to be very, it's not even creative anymore, it's just not giving a fucking shit about about the fucking shit, because otherwise, and that's hard if you're like a perfectionist like me, you just want to get everything perfect, but if it's not possible, you have to cut your non-perfect things till they're even less perfect, and then it's an art to see how far you can cut shit so it doesn't so it comes to the line of being still functional. And when it's not functional anymore, then you just cut too much. And I think that's what made everything work here. I cut so many things. I had to cut everything: visuals, details, finishing, like ideas, anything that I placed. Like reinvented other sectors just to get it done, And yeah, of course you can say it's not finished yet, but yeah, if you make a track with 1,000 props, there's still be things that you say, oh, I'd like to add that, So in the end, people will just build France, Yeah, I know I got the Monaco track, but I'd like to build Paris, in the distance, so people see it. It's just you always want more. So what I did was, in the end, I tried to get this bump and this prop in the position that it is now, and that was I think the thing that pulled me over to finish it, and because I could see a solution. And then I needed like at least 2 or 3 or 4 props, and I was like, okay, I could find 2, couldn't find 4. Then in the end, you do find 4, but you can keep cutting until it's not functional anymore. So I did find extra props, and I kept finding extra props. How, I have no idea. So what happened is I needed to get this this uphill. I had to get that down, and this bit I had to get, because it's easy. If you go downhill and you say, okay, we're gonna do it like this, and this lines up with that prop, and then you just go down. But your exit is gonna be at this angle, so all your cars will come out and have that off-banking angle. So for racing, it's very uninteresting, because if you exit, you're gonna lose your grip. Even for Formula One, it's not that bad. But if you drive other cars, now it's still flat. It's already angled, but it's still doable. So that's it's very major important that how this prop is placed to get the connection to the downhill and break the downhill angle, as you see here, because it's diagonal, which means I cut more off on that side, just to break this angle. And I already placed this bridge angle in a slight slant down towards the inside, so you have like a banking a little bit, which is also on the real track because it's all crooked there. But by moving this one in the slide bank, I already have a slightly more easier task to put this in a downward angle over here. So I increased that angle by going higher here than here, more lower here, and then break the angle and still try to break it towards the horizontalness here. Then it becomes more easy to attach this prop, which is then the important prop for the next one, because the downhill angle here decides where your next one is gonna go. So if your thing is too angled, then this prop is gonna do this. So now it doesn't look bad, but if you turn it around, like if you equal, so if you would have more banking, then this prop will do that. And then your X is gonna be a lot harder to work with here. So I tried to get as low as possible and as quick as possible here. So this could have been placed at a slight angle, at a good slanted angle, that's what I mean. So what I did was I tried it. I thought this was in a good position, added the down, and then I just figure out where to start the actual bend here, because I really thought that it was important to get that right, because on the real track, when you exit here and you go downhill, you really actually comes a little bit sooner. So actually it should have been here, like here, should have had that bend. But yeah, it's just not possible with the props. So I'm already happy that it's still there, and even here in GTA, when you come out, it's almost on the same exit so you exit here and you come over here, so it's almost the same location, try style. And that's what that's a focal point here where your apex is close to the barrier. So that important focal point only cost me like 2 props, which is the normal track prop and the barrier close to the curb. But I could only place that if these were placed in the perfect position to have that exit here, because to get down to this level was incredibly hard. And like this transition, I would normally never allow this. I would always smoothen it up with like at least 2 or 3 props. And so this is one connecting with the other. But what I did was just when I placed this, the downhill bit, and then the corner one here. And then I just put this one on the corner one, trying to break a little bit of the angle and to get it slightly on the angle of the ground prop here. And it was more just to try it out, and but when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'll just keep it like this, because it's just, I can't get it any better without erasing more props. It's just impossible. So this is a focal point. This is an important point here, because it's your apexes are always the important points. So you come here, apex, exit. So your exit is an important point, which has the advertisement, has the wall, has the white line, so it's already covered here. Apex, white line, curb, and then the wall bit here. Then you go here, apex and barrier. And then your next focal point is the pit. Pit going in or not. Next focal point is the next curb on the outside, to line up for the apex next focal point here with the pole and the curb. So it's from focal point to focal point, and in between drivers have the time to just chill out a little bit, if that's how you want to put it psychologically. Now, like I say, I just placed 2 props, and it just I was already happy that I touched tarmac here. This was a celebration for me right here. So I don't know if, so it sucks that it blocks the pit here, but if I increase the angle here, this transition would be smoother, but this transition would be worse, because then it would be like duk duk, then it will really be like a real dimple, which already it is, because if you see the angle here, that's ginormous, like I say, normally I never allow for this. I don't know if I can see the angle. I can see the angle, you see. It's, so 4.5 degrees here. So 4.5 is a lot. So, but driving wise, it feels like this. So that's a big piece there. That's a big tempo transition there. But like I say, it's party time for me, so I had touchdown there. So you really have that downhill feel from the real track. Exit here in the sharp corner. Focus on the next apex here, and then you have that sight on the straight, which actually does a bend. Coming out of this line, it would have made you look like it was going around here, And then going around the buildings back here, and then here the corner would be here. But like I say, I'm really stoked with the result here. Coming back and still having that pit lane, even if it's super dangerous to enter it, but I don't think Monaco has a lot of room on the pit lane. Didn't really study the pit lane. It was really challenging to get it in. And then with, like I said, it would have been easy just cutting here, going down to the straight here. Yeah, okay, that's good. But I really wanted that kink in here to the right, and that left kink back to the straight, so you have this little extra apex, which I never would have had if I would have just made a 90-degree hooking up to the straight. And now you have that extra curve feeling, because actually your straight begins here, so your straight actually already curves a bit here, and then it curves a bit more here, so I actually have already that band a little bit, which is, it's all so small details, but I'm really happy with how it ended up. Now it sucks that this tree is here. Too bad we don't have removing tree things. So I ended up with this. So it's like, oh no, I'm gonna need like another 5 props to cover for this tree and this area and this and that. But yeah, like I say, it's just fuck it. One prop, place it here, try to cover the tree. Little bonus is that the track becomes more narrow here, so I cut a lot of the track off here, as you see. But like I see, the priority is just covering the tree and the branches, because it's an apex. You're forming an apex. You're coming here, apex, exit. And you're going to the next, especially if you want to pit, that's an apex, so you can't have a tree sticking out of the barrier, because then you would have because the barrier is the limit, and if your branch would stick out, then your limit changes. So then your barrier is totally obsolete if you have 2 different limits. So it's very ugly. Curb here showing, very ugly. But again, it does the job. Pit lane still available. Not really the pit boxes, but you can just stop and fix your car, so it's functional. And I'm really glad that I got the open wheel version done on the same streets, on the same design layout as the original version. So that being said, I think it's time to try it out, and I'm not gonna do that in the creator mode, but I'm gonna do that online. So I'm just gonna exit without saving. Right, I'll be right back.
So, what's up? This place is so freaking old school. It's almost cool, you know?
Starting off with the old one. Oh, no open wheel. Don't matter. So you see you already have no pit lane here. Trees on the curbs. Just a little low wall on the outside. So I think I'm a little bit wider here. Low barrier. Curved ram barrier there. On the wheel track it's more open, so I just put some ads there. Covered that with a tube. It's open, it's got that 90-degree angle, so this prop is actually has too much radius to it. Too easy. It's not fast enough. Still very close to the curve here. Okay. See it change that a little bit. The uphill. I will move the up and down bits a bit more. More room next to the curve here. See no buildings there. Right with a big wall prop there. Everything open, no stands on the outside, no building, no open viewpoint here. There was just a little bit of trees here, normal. Something like that with the green. See, I'll use the ramps to cover that bit up. Very open here now, compared to the new one. See how much room you got on the exit there. Water barrier prop on the outside. See how much room people are always going right here. Then you can go right here and here. So you had a lot more props to cover there. It's cool. Close on the curb here, no barriers. So the cover up is slightly better. For walling, again, it's very open curves here. here on the outside. See, I use more props for the bridge here, covering, connecting to that upper bit. A little ugliness here. Just a little wide, and then use the wide wall props. It's all a lot more narrow now. See how wide this cover, man. If I do this, like I say, complete full speed. This is slightly the same, only don't have that barrier there. Have to work with the metal barriers. They're also more dangerous, others are more careful. See, just place a bit more inward, I think, with less angle on that. See here, people got just here, 12 here. So it's a lot tighter now. That means probably I have to cut that right kinker up now. Barrier's a lot better now, a lot closer to the left curb. See on the right, it's covered up now. It's not on the new edition. Here was the wall a lot sharper. So you can cut a lot more here. Little big cut around here. For the ramps, see a lot more props. Still a little bit of ugliness though. See here, I'm a lot higher on the palm trees than on the new edition. I dropped it a lot more. Here you have still a downhill here. I want to get rid of that, so the whole marine area is more flat now. So your downhill is only on that downhill bit, which is more accurate than this version. You also don't have that kink here where you have that override of two probes. That's not really perfect. Do have the bleachers there, the stands, which I made a little bigger. It fits more, it covers up more that area on outside here. In the new edition. Walls a lot further away, open here, exit grips. See how easy this entrance is. It's all too open, there's no pool here, no wall. Some destructibles. You have that exit here, which is the same as the entrance, which is too easy. Compared to the real track, so I changed that. Features are lower here than on the new version. The wall coming through there. So like I said, it's one of my early creations, the original one. So a lot more sophisticated now. With a little bummer, I wanted to get rid of that, and then you have this section. People always slide it out because they have to go down again. I wanted to get rid of that, which I succeeded. Pretty good. So it was about the same level here. Just kept this lower. And then here, yeah, I still had the uphill, so here I went for the downhill because it was a lot easier to go back to the street level. So I had to get that uphill in, so I had to keep this a bit lower and get the uphill in, and then still get that kink into the right and then to the left, instead of now having just one corner, which was not accurate at all. Oh. So for back in the day, I would say it was already for me an accomplishment to get it down to that level, connecting to the marina. The addition from the open wheels is just crazy. It's a lot better, a lot tighter, a lot more real. We go for a fast lap. believe that. The inclination is already pretty good, so just could go further off that. It's really, it's weird and funny to see where the props go and how you get the 200, because just put the track down and you need 50 or something. Big downhill, luck. Not too easy there. See the cars always slipping now. This was the king and we had to have the band that's already on the straight. So the challenge for me was to get it done before the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix, which is just 2 or 3 weeks from now. 4 weeks maybe? No, there's one in between. So I think I have a month to spare. But yeah, I might have had 20 or more sessions going in and out, just trying. I think it's more to 30, but sometimes you have more effort and intent than other times. So you just try to focus on what you do see, that is actually accomplishable. So I didn't see it for the last sector for a long time, and now with the pressure of the F1 calendar, I just took a look at it sometimes, tried at it a few times, and then just a few days ago I just saw it and I was like, try to get it right, and that, like I said, that bridge uphill downhill part and that crossroad from the last sector, that placement, that is what I was looking for. Took me a long time, but you have to see it on the wheel. And we're gonna go for the off wheel. But, I don't have another edition yet, so. Where is the O? What the fuck are you getting? There's a chopper? Who's a guy? What the fuck is he doing here? He's in the middle of fucking nowhere in the north. Ah, it's a race. It's a race. Monaco, there it is. Huh? Did I erase it? Must have accidentally erased it. Oh, no description is there. It's got all the corner names. Beerade, of course. Still branches sticking through the wall there, but there's a little bit of room between the curb. See here. I'm on the curb, I wouldn't hit it. Like I say, I'd rather would not have it, of course. Emergency call. See, I have to open it up here still. Not a lot of time to get the curb loose there. I already have to focus here on the apex. A lot of people will catch that pole. No more ramp on the outside. More advertisement. Back to the barrier here, close to the wall. See that building or that feeling. Environmental buildings. Barriers closed, little curb showing. The buildings here covering it out. Immediately pointing to the stands. The casino's still in the same location, just a barrier touching it and closer to the track. Single barrier here, exit. A bit tighter, got the tree to open forum. Closed barrier here for all the tanks. Switching to the underside. Closed barrier. Different prop here. Again, you cannot use tubes for open wheel races, so yeah, there goes my there goes my solution of a round inside wall. Got blocked there. Same vision, tighter building. I think it's the same product as old track. It's a lot tighter now. Locking onto the barriers there. Inside, not that important. Keep it gray, keep it all in the same color. A little bit of advertisement in the back. Tight exit there. Apex blocker. Into the tunnel. Can go up here, but that's with the safe, you can still get off easy. No hitting on that block there. There's a bit more room, bit more parallel divided in the tunnel now. Curb moves out to the other side here, no cutting on the right. There's a lot more time to the apex there, back to the other side, cut here. Very sharp on this. If you look at the images from the real race, these guys are just like the rubber. They almost take the print off the rubber. That's how close they got to the barriers. It's insane. Very open here, but you have to dive deep in to get that checkpoint. Not the cut. Back to the apex here on the left. With lower on the green on this side. Open apex, hard to cut. Easy entrance here. Like I said, the open end is not that bad. It was nicely blocked off, cheaply blocked off, but it's blocked off. Got a sharp corner here, you can cut a little bit here. Still fast, but you have to watch out with your exit. Here is a lot better now. So that outside, you have to stay away from that, so it will be okay. Cut here. And you have it straight now, which was first the instant corner to the right, now you have it straight. Uphill, downhill, and you have it cut to the right again, slide. And that's a lot better. Take a look at the pit. Can I get a respawn? It's doable. Can't record while broadcasting. Oh, nice. I used to be able to do that in old gem. Anyhow, okay. tighter. But closer to the real track. That was it for the doku of Monaco GP. Thanks for watching.